Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have a little bit more of a mysterious topic, which as you can tell by the title below is what isn't what it seems. So we're going to kind of open-endedly delve into an area of your life that Spirit believes you deserve a little bit of a glimpse into, something that looks one way but actually is another. It could be something to do with a person in your life, could be something to do with your career or relationships, platonic or familial or romantic, right? Could also just be an event that happened that they really want you to know maybe meant something else than how you interpreted it. So, like I said, open-ended. We'll see what happens as we go along. So, let's pick our piles. For today, we're picking with tarot decks, the Seven of Swords from each of these three decks. And the Seven of Swords, if you're familiar with tarot, you know, is the card of deception. So perfect for kind of a mysterious reading, right? So over here for my pile number ones, we have the Seven of Swords from the Tarot of the Divine. We have the coyote trickster figure from Native American mythology. And here's the back of that particular deck if you're interested in seeing that. So pile number one is Tarot of the Divine. Pile number two is we have the Mystery Tarot. Once again, perfect for this type of reading, right? And if you're not familiar with what that is, and you're like, who the heck is this guy with the Shriner hat? This is a pop culture deck from the show Gravity Falls. He's making away with 7 axes, or well, swords. And then here is the backing for that particular card, if you're interested. So pile 2 is the Mystery Tarot. Put Grunkle Stand back down. And last but not least, for my pile number 3 is over here on the right. We have from the Ostara Tarot, the Seven of Swords, a raccoon trying to make away with 7 swords from camp. And the back of the deck looks like this, with bird skulls and looks like flowers. So just to reiterate real quick, pile number 1 is Tarot of the Divine. Pile number 2 is the Mystery Tarot. And pile number 3 is the Ostara Tarot. Feel free to meditate on these piles a little bit longer if you haven't decided yet which one calls the most to you. Otherwise, whenever you are ready, my lovely piles 1s, 2s, 3s, drop down to the description box or the top pinned comment below. Click on the timestamp for your reading, and I will see you in our discussion about what isn't what it seems. Bye. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 1s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what isn't what it seems. As you recall, the deck you used to pick your pile today was the Seven of Swords from the Tarot of the Divine. We have the coyote trickster figure from Native American mythology. So, as always, when we pick with decks, right away I like to put your pile leader right back into its respective deck, just so that when we pull your tarot cards, all 78 cards are there available for part of the message. So I'm going to set your oracle cards I already drew over here to the side, and then I'm going to shuffle the tarot deck and pull out tarot cards for your reading today. So just one moment. There we go. Spirit, for my lovely pile number 1s, could you give me 5 tarot cards explaining more about, over time, what has happened with this thing that is not what it seems? For their highest best good, thank you. What is not what it seems in their life? Okay, let's pick our cards. I think that one for sure. Right there, number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And let's see, number 5. Right there. Let's reveal your cards, pile number 1s. So first up, for your oracle cards today, from the Woodland Wardens Oracle, you received the Ram and Dahlia, Determination. Interesting, determination. Now, rams are pretty stubborn. Set that one over here to the left. Then from the Dream Ritual Oracle, you received Empathy. Interesting, empathy. Determination, empathy. Actually, I'm going to set that over this way some more. Then from your Tea Leaf Fortune cards, you received V, Victory in some endeavor. Victory in some endeavor. So we have themes of determination, maybe some stubbornness, victory, empathy. And then last but not least, from the Folklore Oracle today, you received Easter. Gorgeous card. This one typically means positivity, letting go of pessimism, maybe productivity even in times of hardship. Okay, and then your tarot cards, let's reveal those, pile number 1s. First up, we have the Four of Cups, the card of apathy, not paying attention to certain things. Secondly, we have the Four of Swords reversed, coming from a time of rest into a time of action. Waking up. I didn't see something, and now I'm waking up. Okay. 3, the Nine of Swords, anxiety or depression, mental strife. 9 of Pentacles or coins, satisfaction after a time of hard work. Basically the fruits of our labor type card, reaping what you sowed in a positive way. And your 5th tarot card is the Moon, illusions. Things are not what they seem. What a perfect card for this type of reading. It's kind of similar to the 7 of Swords that way. Things are not what they seem. Illusions, dreams. Especially interesting getting that next to the card of the Sun with Easter, right? Alright, so pile number 1s, I'm going to look over your cards. I'm going to take a quick drink. Apologies for some silence. And then I'm going to put together your cohesive message about what isn't what it seems and why, okay? Pile number 1s, what really jumps out at me is I feel like there's an area of your life where you don't believe you're getting the recognition you desire or deserve for something that you've done. This could be, a lot of you, I feel like this could be in your career or your job. But in general, the theme for everybody, being a general reading, is that it's like you've had a lot of mental strife, a lot of worry recently over having worked very hard at something. You have been like the ram over here, the ram and Dahlia, determination, very stubborn, very, I need to break through this mountain path, through this rock, through this obstacle in my way, and I've done it. I've had victory here with V. You've been successful at it, pile number 1s, but what it feels like is, okay, I've done all this hard work, I've succeeded, I did everything I was supposed to, and I have done it almost flawlessly, if not with perfection. But the catch is, pile number 1s, is you feel like no one's recognizing you for your effort, A, or they're not really understanding what it took from you to pull that off flawlessly. It almost feels like you coming home from a tournament or a challenge and being like, hey everybody, I did this thing, look at me. And you get home expecting a party or a celebration and everyone's like, oh, okay. Just, it felt like everybody in your life just kind of was like, like they're not really celebrating enough the thing that you desire them to, or at least it seems that way, pile number 1s, okay? And it could be even not maybe just one particular event. This could be a very recurring theme in your life where you do things really successfully, you do things really well, and it feels like no one pays attention to the things that you pull off. It's almost like, you know how sometimes when things go really well, sometimes people don't notice that you're doing something well or that it's going well just because they're so used to it being done flawlessly that they don't even think about, like, they kind of take it for granted, I guess, is a good way to summarize that pile number 1s. That's what I'm feeling with this reading, at least in terms of your emotional state, especially because, looking at your tarot cards here, We have the Four of Cups, which is apathy, like someone not really paying attention to something. And then next up we have the Four of Swords reverse, which is like something coming into, it's like waking up to something, and then mental strife with the Nine of Swords, reaping what you sow with the Nine of Pentacles, and then illusions with the Moon. It's almost like I see a sequence of people not paying attention, you wanting them to wake up, it stressing you out, okay, going through each tarot card here. You wanting more fruits from all the hard labor you put in, but people don't really see it with the Moon. Like the Moon, like I said when I first pulled it out, is illusions. Things not being what they seem. Yeah, I think people almost kind of take it for granted, or at least it feels that way, pile number ones. That's the emotional state that's coming forward first off the bat here with your reading. Excuse me. And it's frustrating, pile number ones. I definitely feel that off of your reading. You're like, hey, I'm over here hauling butt, to put it nicely. I'm over here hauling my butt off, making sure everything goes well, and my reception is just dead silence, okay? It's like people aren't really valuing what you put forward. They aren't valuing what you do. If this is like a work-related thing, pile number ones, it could feel like your boss or your manager doesn't really quite understand all of what you do, or like they don't really appreciate what you do enough. Like there's maybe, I feel like, a lack of reward in terms of promotions or raises, etc., that type of thing at work, or at least like public recognition. Could be even like you feel that other people take credit for your work at work sometimes, if this is a job-related thing, or it could be, if this is related to your family, pile number ones, another incarnation would be, maybe you're the person in your family that makes sure everything gets done. You make sure that all the celebrations are put together. You're kind of like the central linchpin of your family, and it just feels like, I'll just put it, limp fart. No one really pays attention because you're so good at doing it that your reception is, oh, well, that's just, pile number one always does that. We don't need to thank them for it. Everything goes flawlessly, and you're sitting there like, okay, yeah, I don't, I like doing this thing. Maybe it makes you feel successful or it makes you feel fulfilled, but at the same time, it would be really nice if people paid more attention, especially with that Four of Cups, that apathy of them just, not really paying attention, right? That sort of feeling. Or it could be manifested in your life, pile number ones, in the way of, maybe your friendship group, or could be in a community type group that you're a part of, or even in a romantic relationship. Maybe you do a lot of the effort. You're the one dragging a lot of the weight around in these, relationship-based groups, and you feel really under-recognized for it, okay? And so that's what's bothering you in terms of what's going on here. And yeah, you're just frustrated, it feels like, pile number one. So you're like, I pull this off, no one's paying attention. Hey, like, why is no one paying attention? Okay. However, this reading is a reading about what isn't what it seems. Okay? And this might be a little difficult to hear, pile number ones, but I say this with your highest best good in mind, as always with my readings. I think people appreciate you a lot more than you think they do. Okay? I think people understand your contributions more than you think they do. Yes, it would be nice if people would maybe contribute a little bit more verbal confirmation of, hey, great job. Or if maybe people would say, hey, you're doing a lot. Would you like some weight taken off of your shoulders? And maybe I'll help you with this because I know how much you do and how much you're doing it well. But even though you do it well, doesn't mean you have to do it all alone, right? Yes, that would be nice. That would be ideal. But what I'm seeing here is it feels like people do recognize your efforts, pile number ones. I almost get the feeling that a lot of the people involved might not be, and this really depends on your family culture or your work culture or like your manager, depending on how this applies to you, pile number ones, or maybe the culture of the friend group you're in or the relationship you're in, etc., where people aren't very good about verbally expressing things. Maybe they're a little bit more about action rather than words, and you're someone maybe who has a love language of, I need verbal confirmation that what I'm doing is, helps people and that they appreciate it, which is, that's different love languages we all have. Some people like being told things, some people like things done for them, and it seems like whatever is going on, pile number ones, how this applies to you, the people involved that you wish would thank you more just aren't very good about verbalizing appreciation in the way that you maybe is best for your particular love language, right? You know, or same thing at work, you know, maybe you wish your manager or your coworkers would speak up a little bit more about what you contribute. And that's the thing though, is that just because they don't say it doesn't mean that they don't appreciate you. It's just that they're just maybe not good at verbalizing it, you know? Maybe they thank you in a different way where, you know, they go out of their way maybe to take some tasks off of your back at work, okay? You know, or maybe they're planning to do something, but they're kind of hush-hush about it right now. It could be one little intuitive hit I got earlier when I was pulling the cards out is I feel like for those of you where this is related to career, there's something going on with your manager as to why they're not maybe outright saying things to you. I almost feel like it's something to do with, I don't want to say it's like a promotion necessarily or like a raise. It's almost like they're taking a target off of your back more by not being really outspoken about what you do. Like there's some sort of underhanded, but in a very positive way, reason that they're not being more verbal about your victories and what you do that's so good, at least in terms of this is a career-related thing, pile number ones, okay? As for those of you who this is like family-related, I feel like your family has just gotten a bit maybe complacent with being, you know, happy with what you do, and they just think that maybe you don't really, like, need as much confirmation of thanks for what you do, which, yeah, it would be nice if they immediately just kind of knew, hey, I should always thank pile number ones for what they do for our family, but sometimes people are just kind of, not maliciously, but just kind of carelessly, maybe a little forgetful when it comes to the things that they take for granted. So, you know, one piece of advice I could give you, pile number ones, is, you know, a lot of times people don't know what you need until you tell them. A lot of times people don't understand that what they're doing is irking you until you tell them. Really, you know, of course, gently, but, you know, maybe hint, you know, let's say if you're the person that does a lot for your family, you're like the linchpin that keeps your family together. You handle like, you know, the big finances related things with, you know, say like the more elderly people in your family, like if you're helping, you know, decide, you know, where they're living and who's taking care of them, or it could be, you know, you're the one that helps kind of gather the family gatherings and puts them together and cooks and things like that, depending on, you know, you're that type of role is what I'm kind of getting at. You know, next time you have one of those events, you know, say something to your family about, hey, you know, I work really, really, really hard on these things, and, you know, I'm sure you appreciate it, but, you know, I feel kind of underappreciated a little bit. And I think you'll find pile number ones, of course, each of you are going to be a bit different, but I think for most of you, you'll find that if you speak up about it, people will be like, oh crap, and then they'll realize, okay, pile number one is kind of upset that we haven't been verbally thankful enough for what they do, or congratulatory enough for what they do, or same thing if this is something where, like, say you got a degree, like something to celebrate, you know, or, you know, you got a promotion at work and you wanted people to celebrate it a little bit more, or maybe you said, you know, hey, I got engaged and you want people to celebrate more, and it seems just like it kind of came... It felt to like a limp fart when you told people because they were just like, oh, okay, that's great, you know, and you were like, hey, I wanted you to celebrate with me. Verbalize that a bit more, pile number ones, okay? I think the people in your life that aren't appreciating you, it's not that they don't actually appreciate you, it's just that they're not very good about telling you, or there's some reason why they're not saying it for your own benefit. Like, I feel, especially with Easter here, that's the card of, you know, positivity. Letting go of pessimism, okay? You know, things being productive even when it seems like it's a time of roughness or hardship. Things are more positive than what they seem. You have to view, or at least you're being highly encouraged, to view this in a little bit more of a positive, optimistic manner, okay? Assume the best intentions at heart with these people, because that will help you change your view, especially you got the moon here, which is illusions. Things are not what they seem. Okay? That's a message to you from spirit, pile number ones. Things are not what they seem. If you give people the benefit of the doubt, you'll probably realize maybe they aren't as apathetic as I thought they were, and that will reduce your mental anxiety, okay? That will make you realize, okay, they do appreciate the fruits of my labor here, like the Nine of Pentacles. They do appreciate, they are actually empathetic to me and my struggles and everything I've been going through. There is empathy. It's there. It's just that maybe sometimes people aren't so good about telling you about it, or they don't tell you for a reason. Like I said, one example being maybe it's, say, like I said, if it's a manager that's not really appreciating you verbally, or is not as outspoken about your virtues and your skills and your successes at your work, maybe there's some kind of underhanded but positive reason for it, as in like, yeah, they don't want a target on your back, okay? Things like that. I feel it's a lot better than it seems. It's thankfully, it's a positive message today, pile number ones. To summarize, what's not what it seems is that what you feel in your life is under-recognized or under-celebrated is actually appreciated, but it doesn't seem that way either out of people just not realizing what you need, which you can verbalize and tell them then, hey, I need this thing from you. I need this, I need a little bit more congratulations. I need a little bit more appreciation, or it's not being recognized for an underhanded but positive reason. Okay, does that make sense, pile number ones? I'm going to take a drink, and then I'm going to look over your cards a little bit more, make sure I didn't miss any messages. I might have an extra question to ask your tarot deck at the end here, so I'll be a little bit quiet as I think about that. Apologies for the silence. Another thing, aspect pile number ones I'm seeing is that's not what it seems. This is kind of a side note to the main part of the reading. I think it's possible that whatever you feel hasn't been appreciated enough or congratulated enough, maybe it started even to knock your confidence a bit because you weren't getting the feedback that you expected or the celebration that you expected, especially here because you have the Nine of Swords. That is the card of depression or anxiety or worry, okay, the things that haunt us. So I feel like if you have any sort of self-doubt because of a lack of feedback or a lack of celebration, Spirit is saying do not doubt yourself. You are doing well at whatever this is, be it your job, be it, your family linchpin, being, a good girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, etc. Insert here. To your partner, you're doing great. So don't let a lack of evidence, quote unquote, confirm to you that, oh, I'm not as good as I think I am in this situation just because someone else hasn't told me so. Okay? Does that make sense, pile number ones? So, not only is it not what it seems in terms of people do appreciate you, or they're just, maybe kind of thoughtless, and if you verbalize it a little bit, they'll realize they're being thoughtless and they'll turn that around, right? The side note is, what also isn't what it seems is you're better than you think you are in this area of your life. But just because maybe you've had a lack of recognition publicly or to your face, you think, well, maybe I'm not as good. But the truth is you are as good. There's a lot of illusions here, especially with the moon having come out at the end here, okay? There's a lot about I'm worried. There's illusions. People feel apathetic. But I've been working really hard. I want some more empathy. It's just, I get those frustrations, pile number ones. But you are appreciated. And or people do appreciate you, they just are a little bit thoughtless about verbalizing it. That type of thing. Let's see if there's any other questions I want to ask your tarot deck today, pile number ones. I'm going to ask for those of you where it's not being verbalized for an underhanded but positive reason, I'm going to ask why that is, especially for those of you where this is maybe like a manager or a work-related thing. Spirit, for my lovely pile number ones, for those of you who this is related to like an underhanded but positive reason as to why they're not being congratulated enough, can you give me maybe 3 cards explaining why that is? Thank you. For their highest, best good. Why? I mean, I know we have, oh, there's 2. The thoughtlessness maybe of some people that, they mean well, they're not very good about verbalizing it. Here, I'll peel those apart in a second. We'll pick your 3rd card first. Right there. There we go. Like, what's the underhanded positive reason? Well, we have the Three of Swords, which is pain, and then we have, okay, so the Seven of Swords popped out again, which is reversed this time, whereas it wasn't when we picked your piles today. The Seven of Swords reversed is revealing deception. The Three of Swords is pain, and then last but not least, we have, oopsie, we're getting messy here. The Six of Swords is leaving somewhere. I feel like, interesting. Revealing deception related to pain and leaving. One second, I'm going to interpret this. Excuse me. Revealing deception and pain and leaving. The deception of the pain of leaving? Pile number 1. There's something about, for those of you where this is not just a thoughtlessness on the other person or people's part, where it applies to you in a way, especially for those of you where this is career related, I feel like that's most of you with this aspect of the reading, where it might be like someone isn't recognizing you publicly or giving you enough feedback because of an underhanded but positive reason, right? The reason is something to do about the pain of leaving somewhere, revealing the deception of the pain of leaving. I don't know if this is career related, like maybe your manager is leaving the job, and that's related to maybe why they're not necessarily praising you. It could be, for example, maybe like that job will open up after they leave, but they know that it's a really stressful position and it's not something that maybe that you want. And so they're trying to kind of not downplay your successes and skills, but they're trying to kind of like save you from being put into the same job that they have that's stressful. Like they know it's not a good fit for you in terms of like what they know what your dreams and your aspirations are. But other people in the company might think, oh, well, pile number 1 was, worked under that manager and that manager's gone now. So we'll just slip them into that job, not even really thinking if it's a good fit for you. That kind of is like one interpretation, pile number 1's. But yeah, in general though, for everybody, the underhanded reason, if it's not just other people being kind of thoughtless, is something to do with trying to leave positivity around the pain of leaving somewhere. Revealing the deception of the pain of leaving is how I would interpret that in full. So apply that to your own situation. Each one is going to be a little bit different, but like I said with the manager position or example, I'll say, but the manager example, it's like for a good reason, I feel like. So don't run away from the reading being like scared, like, oh, someone's going to leave me. It's going to be painful. It's going to suck. This is a positive thing. Okay. Deception revealed through the pain of leaving. Yeah, or it's like some sort of surprise that will remove you from some sort of pain. It will help you get away from some pain, especially with the Six of Swords next to the Three of Swords. But in general, pile number 1's, it's, like I said, positive. It's for a good reason. It's just that you can't quite see it yet. So to summarize your reading, pile number 1's, yes, I know it's frustrating being really good at what you do or being very dependable and reliable, being the linchpin of your family or maybe your department at work or in your relationship. And yeah, it sucks because sometimes the things we do, people take for granted and it's kind of thankless. But there's something about this situation in your life, pile number 1's, that isn't what it seems. In terms of people do appreciate you, it's just either that they're kind of thoughtless and maybe sometimes you kind of need to remind them, hey, like I do all this work. You guys are kind of taking it for granted. Hey, would you like to maybe thank me a little bit more? Or, it could be like if it was something that you were hoping for more of a celebratory reaction to, say like you got a degree in something, or maybe you got engaged, or, maybe you succeeded in publishing a novel, insert thing here. Maybe people just didn't know that you wanted to celebrate it more and they were kind of, once again, like a thoughtless thing. And or the other interpretation is that, especially for those of you where this is related to career, there's something about removing you or moving you away from some sort of pain as to why this person or these people seem like they're not appreciating you or recognizing you enough. There's an underhanded but positive reason for it. Okay, and that's what's not what it seems in your life today, pile number ones. So as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number ones. All right, bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what isn't what it seems. As you recall, the deck you used to pick your pile today was the Mystery Tarot, which, by the way, thank you, pile number twos, for choosing this deck. I love this. It's a pop culture deck from Gravity Falls, one of my favorite shows of all time, so kudos to you for choosing this really cool deck. If you're not familiar with Gravity Falls, don't worry. The tarot deck is just like any other, so I'll interpret for you, so no need to know the show. But anyways, without further ado, let's put your Seven of Swords back into the pile, as I like to do when we do pick a deck readings, just to make sure that all 7 are available, 78, not 7, are available for us with the reading. And I will shuffle that now. Already drew your oracle cards. Let's see what isn't what it seems. Which is a perfect topic to use a Gravity Falls deck with, because the show is entirely about mysteries. So, Spirit, for my lovely pile number twos, could you give me 5 tarot cards explaining more about the timeline of what isn't what it seems? What's going on in pile two's life that isn't quite as it seems? 5 cards, please. Thank you. Okay, we got 2. So let's see, that is the 7 of Pentacles reversed and the Queen of Cups upright. Hold those for a second. And then 3 more. Right there. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Okay, my favorite pile of today. Let's reveal your oracle cards first. We'll talk about the tarot in a second. So, first up, we have the Woodland Wardens Oracle. You received the bee and the pomegranate. Productivity. Being productive. From the Dream Ritual Oracle, you received manifest. Making material our dreams. Maybe a bit of a hustle deck, or hustle pile today, because we're talking about productivity and manifesting things. Actually, I'm going to set that a little bit here. Your tea leaf fortune for today is nest. An emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. All right. Something about family. And the Folklore Oracle for today is, you got the yew tree. And the yew tree is all about resurrection, everlasting life. More mundane terms, sometimes losing things can lead to finding things, or it can lead to making room for new things that are better for us. Making space for new energy. Here we go, and let's reveal your tarot cards. So first up we have the Page of Cups reversed. Something about needing to explore emotions more. Number 2, we have another page, the Page of Pentacles reversed, needing to more explore in the area of the material world. So exploring emotions, exploring materials. Number 3, we have the 6 of Cups, childhood. Okay, definitely kind of a family theme going on here. Childhood. Nostalgia. Then we already have the ones that flipped out. You revealed the 7 of Pentacles reversed, which sometimes can mean needing to plant more seeds for something, needing to prepare more, work a little bit harder on something. And last but not least, the Queen of Cups, being emotionally secure inside, internal mastery of our feelings, being in touch with our feelings. There we go. One moment of silence. I'm going to just look over your cards, get together the cohesive message, take a drink. Apologies for some seconds of quiet. So pile number 2 is what I'm seeing for you today. What isn't what it seems? There is some sort of, what's the best way to put it? there's some sort of issue that you've had with your family. Okay, that's what I'm going to start with. There's some sort of issue you've had with your family in the past. Maybe something to do with family dynamics, something to do with maybe a certain family member in particular. But whatever or whoever it is, even if it's your whole family or it's just one particular family member, the issue is I feel like there was either like a bit of an argument or a disagreement with this family or family member. I feel like you parted on negative terms, or you're still in contact with each other, but there's something, just things aren't right quite, like you can both kind of tell, or you and your family can kind of tell, maybe things aren't so great right now, because there's still that lingering dust in the air from a sort of fight. Or disagreement, I guess, is another way to put that, maybe a little bit more, better way to put that, I should say. And I feel like the disagreement is something over support from your family or this family member in terms of your career or what you want from life. Especially because you have the bee and the pomegranate, which is productivity. We think of bees as worker bees. They work very hard to build their hives, build their honeycombs, to collect pollen, to make honey, to feed the hive. Things like that. Worker bee is a common term we use, right? Because bees are hard workers, right? Same thing with manifest. Manifest is all about bringing to the material our dreams. As above, so below. Kind of like what the magician means in tarot, which you didn't get the magician today, but that's kind of what that card means, is manifestation. Making things, bringing it to life, manifesting it. And especially, it's something that's important to you both emotionally, because you got the Page of Cups. It's also something important to you in terms of your career or what you want in terms of the material world, with the Page of Pentacles reversed here. It's something I feel like you've wanted from childhood, because you got the Six of Cups. But either there was some family situation that kind of held you from going after that dream, or there was pressure to make a certain choice, and so you didn't follow that dream. And I say that because you have the Seven of Pentacles reversed here. That's about not planting seeds for the future, or being unable to plant seeds for the future, especially next to the Six of Cups, is like stemming from childhood. And so it's something that's threatened your emotional security here with the Queen of Cups. Okay. It's something where I don't know if you've just harbored a lifelong regret for it, or harbored kind of a lifelong resentment in some way. Something about, it could be like a career that you wanted to pursue, or it could be like maybe the family home went to somebody else when you really wanted to receive the family home in an inheritance. Or it's something that's important to you emotionally, but it also has to do with the material world in terms of your career or where you live. That's kind of the general vibe I'm getting, okay? That's the background. All right, we haven't gotten to the point of what isn't what it seems, right? But let's see here. And then you have the U, which is interesting, because like when I pulled it out, or what I said when I pulled it out, that's about resurrection. That's about making do with, or making the most out of the absence of things that have left us or were not made ours. Losing can actually lead to good things. We think if something has been taken from us, we want to be sorrowful and we want to be sad about it. But actually what the U means is sometimes losing something or not being able to follow something leads us to a better door or a better path or a better thing than we thought it would. So pile number 2s. I want to be careful in the way that I convey this message to you, because I feel like whatever this thing was that you've been kind of resentful about, it's been hard on you. And in no way, shape, or form do I want to say, hey, you have no right to be upset about this. It's something that is very understandably upsetting with your family or your family member that's involved. And I can see why you're very resentful of what happened. Especially if it was a dream stolen from you or a dream you were discouraged from. Or it could be maybe you, something related to inheritance. Like I said, maybe you really wanted the house in a certain inheritance will or something, and someone else got it, and maybe the other person who got it isn't taking good care of it. They don't have as much of an emotional connection to it as you, or something along those lines. You have every right to be angry, pile number 2. So I'm never going to tell you that you don't have the right to feel the way that you do, because your emotions are guideposts, and your emotions, you feel things because you're supposed to, and especially because you have the Queen of Cups right here. All right, that is telling you it's okay to be in tune with your emotions. It's okay to listen to them. It's okay to honor them. So you have every right to be upset. But what I'm going to tell you, pile number 2, for your highest best good, is it wasn't yours for a reason. And I'm not saying that as in you weren't good enough for it, or that, like you would have been bad in that area or that career. Not in that way. It wasn't yours for a reason, because there was something better or more important for you on the path that you took instead. Okay, does that make sense, pile number 2? So for example, if this is related to a career, maybe you were pressured out of a certain career path or a certain dream by your family long ago. Maybe your parents said, nah, don't do that career. That's a bad career. You're never going to make money, blah, 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 that type of thing, okay? Happens a lot because our parents, may have the best intentions for us in saying we want our child to be, financially secure. At the cost of, okay, but will it kill your soul if you go down that path, if you're unhappy? Because that's the thing in life. That's one of the main struggles as humans, is the balance between financial security and happiness. Okay, that's a big struggle we have here in our little 3-dimensional world called Earth, right? Material security, fulfillment, happiness. Big struggle. So your parents might have been coming at it from a really good perspective, at least in terms of what they wanted for you was financial security because it's important to them and they wanted you to be happy. But what they didn't realize was, from your perspective, that thing wouldn't have made you happy. Maybe the career that they wanted you to go into. Okay? But even so, pile number 2, whatever it was, whatever path you didn't take, whatever thing you didn't receive, it was meant to happen that way. From a spiritual perspective, I'm being told, if you subscribe to the theory of, past lives and reincarnation and life lessons like I do, you were supposed to take this path because it was a path you were supposed to take in terms of your soul's growth. Okay, and same thing with maybe if a sibling got something you didn't, especially with the 6 of Cups here. These are siblings, right? Twins, actually, but yeah, siblings. It was part of their lesson, to handle what they were given. And if they squandered it, well, that's a life lesson that they had to learn with how not to squander things or the repercussions of squandering things. Same thing on your path. You not getting something is a part of a life lesson, or you not going down a certain path is a part of a life lesson. And I think pile number 2 is, if you really explore your emotions and reflect on it a bit more, especially with the Page of Cups reverse, which is asking for more exploration of our emotions, the water suit, right? You'll find that it has made you a stronger person being on this path, going through the struggles you've had, than if you had gone on the path that you had wanted to take or had gotten the thing that you wanted. Does that make sense, pile number 2? So to summarize, what's not what it seems for you is it really turned out better this way in the end. And I know maybe right now in your life, you're at a point where it's really frustrating and you feel very resentful, very understandably. You feel like there's no way that there's a good outcome from this. I was robbed, or I was, I was pressured into not following my dreams. And yes, that sucks. Don't get me wrong. You have every right to feel that way, like I said, but you're on this path for a reason, and it will lead you somewhere better than where the other path would have taken you. And that's why sometimes, the old cliche saying is sometimes rejection is divine protection. And it's hard to hear because we don't want to hear, especially if it's been, especially emotionally turbulent and a trial of, conflict in family. That's never fun to deal with, right? But yes, I'm being told this is the thing that's not what it seems for you, pile number 2s. This is the better path for you, even if it doesn't seem like it right at this moment in your life. You're meant for somewhere better. You're meant for something better, especially in terms of your soul and in terms of where you're headed now. Okay. I do want to pull some extra cards for you. Let's see. Sometimes I like to ask extra questions that pertain specifically to your reading. It really just depends on each pile. It gets a different question. I'm going to shuffle your deck again here off screen as I think about what question to ask, what would be best for you in terms of your highest, best good or advice. Let's see what to ask. 1 second. I'm going to ask why it was better for you this way. I know we already explored that a little bit. I think it's a life lesson related thing and or the path is better, but kind of where is it going? Why? A little bit more detail on that. So Spirit, for pile number 2s, could you give me 3 cards explaining more about why? Why is this the better path in the end? Why is it better for them? There we go. Number 1. Number 2. And number 3. Why is it better? Where is it leading that's better? Let's reveal your cards here. Number 1, you receive the 2 of Wands. Deciding what path to take. Okay. The 6 of Wands is victory. Okay. Telling you, even if it doesn't seem like it right now, there's more victory in your path this way. And last but not least, we have, oh, whoops. This is actually an instructional card. Let me pull one more from your deck. 1 second. I forgot to take that out before I shuffled. Okay. Spirit, sorry, one last card. Thank you. Well, actually, let me read that 1 second. I think it's just instructional. Yeah, it's just instructional. Okay. Apologies for that. Right there, that one right there. Oopsie, kind of a glossy stock. The 10 of Swords reversed is overcoming a betrayal. Overcoming a time of hurt and pain. Overcoming what we thought was the end and picking up and moving on. Okay. So pile number 2s. If you're asking why, what is better about this path than the other one? What is better about not receiving what I thought was mine or thought would be better with me? The reason is, so we have the 2 of Wands, which is making a choice between 2 different paths. We have the 6 of Wands, which is victory, and we have the 10 of Wands reversed, which is overcoming a betrayal. Okay, or overcoming a time of defeat, thinking that we were defeated, but actually we still can pick up and move on. There's some aspect of this path that you've taken instead, pile number 2s, that will lead you to greater victory than it would have had you gone with the first path or had you received that thing related to your family, like plus your career. Okay, does that make sense? So for example, if this is a career path that you've taken where you had the choice between 2 different passions, hence the 2 of Wands, and maybe you took the one that you were a bit more pressured towards by your family or the people around you, it's going to lead to not only a greater victory in the end, especially with that 6 of Wands, greater success, maybe not necessarily financially, it's not saying that, it's not the Pentacles, right? But in terms of creation energy, this is because Wands are fire, right? Creation energy, willpower, strength, that type of feeling, there's greater victory in that area. It could be that maybe it afforded you more time on the side to follow creative projects, or it will eventually, and those creative projects are a part of, maybe your initial passion or path that you thought about going on but were pressured towards a different way. Because sometimes we can choose a certain career, right, that is a stepping stone to what we actually want in terms of financial, what it pays us, right? And in terms of what time it allows us on the side, and or maybe retiring early so that you can follow that path later on in life, okay? Same thing with the Ten of Swords reversed, recovering from a time of betrayal. I feel like as many difficulties as you might have with this particular family member or your family based on what happened here, as many as you might have now that aren't resolved, I feel like this path leads to those issues being resolved in a better way with the Ten of Swords reversed. And or there's something about how it would have been worse with the feeling of betrayal in some way with the first path that you were thinking about having taken, that you were pressured away from. There would have been more conflict. There would have been less victory. So that's what I'm saying, especially with the U tree we had earlier. It's resurrection, okay? That card is all about losing sometimes can lead to better things. Yes, it hurts having things taken. It hurts being pressured towards a certain path, right? But sometimes rejection is divine protection, pile number 2. The metaphor I'm seeing right now, and as silly as this is, maybe it's because there's literally gummy bears right here, but the metaphor I'm seeing is like a child having candy taken away from them and being upset that their hands are empty now, but then a bigger bag of candy being put in their hand. It's like the sacrifice now, or in the past at least, is worth the reward in the future, as difficult as it is. It's better for you in the end, both on a soul level and in terms of creation energy here, with the wands being the suit of fire, victory, right? And that's the thing, and that's funny too, because if you're not familiar with Gravity Falls, literally the thing he's holding in his hand here is a rift. It's literally called the rift. And it's caused by a family struggle or a family strife. Literally in the show, I'm not kidding. Like, especially when I pulled the Nest card out and said family, I'm like, oh, that's weird. That's a theme of Gravity Falls, right? If you're not familiar with the show. But literally, that's literally like a symbolic representation of a family rift in his hands here in the show. Okay. I mean, they don't blatantly say it because, you know, oftentimes fantasy, sci-fi, they use symbolism for things, but literally a family rift in his hand and deciding what to do with it. What path do I take? And going a certain way with it. And that's the thing, is that I'm sorry, I'm geeking out a little bit, but this is very relevant to your reading, I promise. That's the thing, is that had this not occurred in the story of Gravity Falls, right? The people that had the rift between them never would have made up. So sometimes destruction and pain, like the U tree, okay? Sometimes destruction and pain can actually lead to times of creation. It almost gives me the vibe of the Tower card in Tarot. You didn't receive it today, but basically what the Tower card in Tarot is, if you're not familiar, is sometimes things need to be broken down and destruction needs to happen in order to create something new. Perfect example. I'm going to geek out about space now a little bit. Sorry, I'm geeky with this particular reading today, I guess. But what comes forward, right? Out in space, a lot of times, you know, you wonder, well, how do stars form, right? Well, stars form from gas. And where do they get that gas to form? Well, they get it from what are called nebulae, or nebula singular, okay? From a nebula, which is basically a cloud out in space of hydrogen and carbon, a bunch of different gases, right, materials. And where do those nebulae come from? Well, they come from other stars that exploded, okay? That's what I mean, is that through the energy of destruction, there can be room made for the energy of creation of something new and better. That's what I'm talking about. That is the lesson of this particular issue of your life, pile number 2. Is that's what is not what it seems, okay? Yes, the rift in your family sucked. It was painful. It felt like something was being taken away. But sometimes losing things, like the U tree talks about, can help us manifest, which, you know, hey, I'll pull that out again here. Manifest the creation of something better. It's just sometimes there's the messy destruction phase of, okay, we got to get down to the base of the tower and destroy the tower and then fix the bricks on the bottom and then we can build a better tower on top. That's what the tower means in tarot, right? Not that you got it today, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. From destruction comes creation. Okay. Something better. Victory. Things will turn out better this way, as difficult as it seems right now. And that's what's not what it seems, pile number 2 is you aren't on the worst path. Things didn't turn out for the worse. Things actually turned out for the better, even if you can't see it yet. And that's what your reading is all about. There's more fruit on this path than if you'd gone on the other one, is how I'll put it. So I'll leave you with that today, pile number 2s. Once again, thank you for being my piles that picked the Gravity Falls deck. I've never used this deck before. I was kind of afraid to use it because, well, I thought, oh, people aren't going to like an animated thing because I feel like people, maybe are kind of biased. They'll think, oh, it's a cartoon, blah. I don't want that. It's too childish. But, sometimes it's good to indulge in a little bit of inner child, So thank you for picking the Gravity Falls deck today. You're my favorite pile today just because of that. So awesome. Thank you, pile number 2s. I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 2s. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what isn't what it seems. As you recall, the deck you used to pick your pile today was the Ostara Tarot. This is the 7 of Swords from that deck. So as always, when we pick with decks, I'm going to put the card right back into the deck itself so that we have all 78 cards available for the drawing. So I'll put that right back there. You've already picked out your oracle cards, and I'm going to shuffle and draw your tarot cards on screen as I like to do. Here we go. Spirit for my lovely pile number 2s. Could you give me 5 cards, perhaps a timeline of sorts about what isn't what it seems? What do you want to talk to them about? Or, I'm sorry, did I say pile number 2s? You're my pile number 3s. Excuse me, I think I said pile 2s. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, for pile 3s. What isn't what it seems? There we go. Let us pick number 1. Number 2. That one right there, 3. Oh, that one's kind of sticking the other ones. That glossy cardstock, number 4. And number 5. Get our ducks in a row. Let's reveal your oracle cards. From the Woodland Wardens Oracle today, you received the Trout and Lily of the Valley, meaning purification. I love Lily of the Valley. If you've ever smelled it, it smells so pretty. It's very kind of a light, sweet, creamy smell. And trout, of course, are beautiful too. Purification. Then we have the Dream Ritual Oracle. You received release. Interesting. Letting go. Releasing something. Just fascinating because you got the fish. And oftentimes when you fish, you don't always keep the fish. Sometimes you release them. See if that connects to anything. You have the tea leaf fortune today of broken bridge, unsuccessful outcome to a problem. Okay. Might be a theme going on here. You have from the Folklore Oracle today, the tree of Blackthorn. Blackthorn in this particular deck is representative of patience. So sometimes slowness can be a blessing. We think if things are going slow in our life, oh, nothing's going on, but actually it's meant as a time for us to either recuperate or grow in some way before things pick up again. This card can also mean staying in place doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going anywhere. Sometimes things can be moving underneath in ways we can't quite perceive right away. And everything happens in its own good time. And then let's reveal your tarot cards. First up, we have the 5 of Swords reversed, overcoming a time of conflict. The King of Cups reversed. Something about not expressing our emotions in the right way or in a constructive way. External manifestation of water, right? We have the 7 of Cups reversed, being careful of our choices. Number 4, we have the 6 of Cups reversed. Something about negative memories, negative past, negativity with childhood. Sometimes this can be in the childhood card. It's interesting. Pile number 2's got the Six of Cups today. As well. And then last but not least for you pile 3s, we have the Chariot reversed. The Chariot reversed can often mean feeling like something is out of our control, feeling like it's chaotic. We need to grab the reins quick, but maybe we're not quite sure how to rein it under control. There we go. So apologies for silence. One moment, I'm going to look over your cards, take a drink, clear my throat, and put together a cohesive message about what's not what it seems for you pile number 3s, okay? So pile number 3s. Intuitively, what I'm being told is there's some situation in your life where you've been very unhappy with something. It feels like everything has gone wrong. It feels like things are at their end. Something will never mend. Something will never come together again. Something will never come to you. Something is out of your control. Those type of feelings. Pile number 3s. You feel like you've lost something. You feel like you're not going fast enough. There's some sort of general feeling of, to summarize, I'm frustrated. Things aren't going the way that I want them to or the way I expected them to. I want it to go well and I want it to go faster. I want to succeed and come to that goal. But it's just not working out. That's the background of this message today for you pile number 3s, okay? Frustrated, not coming fast enough. I want more control over this. But what's interesting, pile number 3s, is I almost feel it's gotten to the point where you're so frustrated with this thing, you've started to, I don't want to say lash out, because I don't think it's like you're taking it out on other people, but it's affecting other areas of your life just because of how frustrated or upset you are with what's going on. Especially with the Five of Swords reversed in the beginning here. That's the sword, or sorry, excuse me, the sword. The card of overcoming a time of conflict, especially with being air, is the sword suit, right? Tongues with our mind, with communication. Maybe lashing out verbally about something. Maybe something just hasn't been working out and you were quiet about it for a long time. And then finally you said something, maybe it didn't go over very well. Could be at your job. Maybe something's been going on and you're like, okay, this is stupid. This isn't working. Nobody's listening to me. Blah. And then it came out. Okay. Or it could be something in a relationship where something was going wrong. Something was not being done or fixed. And finally you said, okay, I can't take it anymore. I have to say something because this just isn't going right. And the wake of that left you feeling like you, especially with the King of Cups reversed, that's the card of being careful about the way that we express our emotions outwardly, right? Maybe you felt like you were too harsh. Maybe you felt like you got too upset with somebody or too upset with a situation, but it's like, it's so frustrating that you can't calm down because it's just like, there's no momentum here. There's no movement. Especially with the Chariot reversed, it's like you feel like you don't have control, and it just feels like one bad choice after another with the Seven of Cups reversed. It feels like, especially with the Six of Cups reversed, it's maybe even been going on for a while, maybe a pattern in your life, especially that being the childhood card, right? Could have been something even from childhood that's kind of cropped up again and it's frustrating you, or like I said, a pattern in your life that's been going on since childhood. And so you're like, well, what do I do? Like, how do I fix this? What's going on? Like, why does this happen to me? It almost just kind of feels like bad luck to you, pile number 3s, is the intuitive sense I'm getting. Like, you're like, I wish it would just go my way for once. I wish it would just work out my way for once. Is maybe something you say to yourself a lot with this situation, with this particular issue. See if there's anything else I can glean before we move on to what the reality is. What isn't what it seems, right? One moment. Yeah, just... And it wasn't received really well if you did speak out about it, especially with the King of Cups reversed next to the Five of Swords reversed. That's like verbal spat, and then being careful about the way we externally manifest how we feel. I almost feel like, too, maybe there was some element of telling someone else that they were making a bad choice. Maybe because it's a path you had already gone down, and you were warning them and they didn't listen to you. Could be a child of yours if you're a parent, especially with the Six of Cups reversed here. Yeah. And it's just out of control, and you're like, I tried to help them, they wouldn't listen to me. I tried to warn people, they wouldn't listen to me. I tried to say there's an issue here, people just wouldn't listen. It's like everyone's got their hands over their ears going, la 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 la. Like, just not listening to you, pile number 3 is, and you're so frustrated. So maybe, yeah, and throughout your entire life, you felt like you've just never been listened to, and that's why it seems like maybe a repeating pattern. And it's like seeing things that are going bad before they happen and trying to warn people, and they just don't listen. And then it causes issues in your own life, too. And you're like, why can't it go my way? Why can't people listen? So that's the background of this reading, pile number 3, is okay. Moving on, though, to what isn't what it seems with this situation. Let's see, we have release, purification, and especially with your blackthorn here. What I'm going to tell you, pile number 3s, is if this, okay, so I almost see you in 2 different groups, pile number 3s. If this is a situation where it's other people who aren't listening to you and they're making bad choices, especially with the 7 of Cups reversed here, right? And things are going out of control in their life, especially if it's like your child, if you're a parent, or in general, maybe someone younger than you. You're trying to warn them of a bad choice, and they're just not listening to you. They're just being frustrating, and you're trying... It's like seeing them about to plow into something, and you're saying, like, hey, look out, you're going to hit that thing, and they just don't listen, right? If that's your particular situation, pile number 3s, what isn't what it seems is that is a lesson they're supposed to learn. Okay? Especially if you're a parent, it is very difficult to have a child who you feel like is going down a bad road because you want what's best for them. That's what a parent is, at least a good parent, right? A good parent wants what's best for their child. And so you can scream to the hills, hey child, that thing isn't good for you. And some children, they just don't listen. And sometimes that manifests in you blaming yourself as the parent. Like, why didn't I get through to them? Why didn't they listen to me? Why couldn't we have prevented this, right? And what is not what it seems, pile number 3, is if that's the way it applies to you, is people not listening to you, right? Especially, I think, for a lot of you, it might be your child if you're a parent or a younger person in your life. They're meant to learn that lesson. Okay? The key here is release. Letting go. We, as parents, or as older mentor-type figures to people, maybe even if they're not related to us, can try our best to prepare the youth or younger people for the future. But no matter what, it's their choice in the end, even if it's a bad, like the 7 of Cups reverse. Their choice. So what isn't what it seems here, pile 3s, is it's not your responsibility to make those choices for them. It's not your responsibility to make sure they have a good outcome beyond what you've already done, which is your best, okay? If you've already done your best, pile number 3s, the rest is in their hands. And if they fumble the ball, that's their life lesson to learn. me being the spiritual person I am, I personally believe in reincarnation, past lives, life lessons, things we're supposed to learn, right? If you also ascribe to that belief, what I'm telling you is that this particular person or people in your life, maybe it's a pattern, that's their lesson to learn. Okay? And your role in their life is the mentor not listened to. I know that sounds hard and it sucks, right? Because you're like, I want to, you have a very altruistic, benevolent reason for what you do, pile number 3. So I get that, especially with this reading, right? I get good vibes off of you in this reading. You have the best intentions for these people. But the issue is that you cannot feel responsible after you've done your best for people and they fumble the ball. That's their responsibility, not yours. So I think what it comes down to, if that's the way it manifests for you in this reading, where it's other people don't listen to you, pile 3s, is you didn't fail at all. That's the thing that isn't what it seems. You were not the failure as a parent or as a mentor figure, okay? Now, if this manifests in terms of the other half of the people in this reading, okay, like some of you, I think it's like people just don't listen to you and they run into issues. This is one half. This is the other half. Now, if this applies to you more in the way of this has been personal frustrations in your life, where things just seem like they're going wrong, to the point where maybe you're kind of verbally lashed out at people because you're just frustrated. There's been unsuccessful outcomes to problems with Broken Bridge. Maybe even feels like there's never really a right choice with the 7 of Cups reversed, okay? Maybe even stemming from childhood with the 6 of Cups reversed over here. It feels like maybe it's been a pattern since your childhood where it's just like things just do not go your way in a certain area of your life. It could be romance, it could be in your career, it could be with your family. Whatever applies to you, pile 3s. Everyone's going to be a bit different in a general reading, but what I am being told is not only, and this is one of the hardest things to say in a tarot reading, so I'm going to say it very carefully. What's the best way to say it? Sometimes the hardest things we go through are for a reason. And oftentimes, at least in my personal belief, the reason for those things, those difficult problems, trials and tribulations, issues we have, feels like there's always an unsuccessful outcome to a problem. The reason is because it was our lesson to learn in the lives that we live, at least in my personal belief, okay? The things that you've been through, pile number 3s, have made you a lot stronger than you think that they have. It almost feels like you, and I say this very tenderly with your best interest in mind, you almost view yourself as a victim of life, when really you're someone that's been enduring and is a lot stronger. You're not a punching bag. You're the iron will that hasn't been broken down. Does that kind of make sense, pile number 3s? So for those of you, this is more personal things that feel like they've always gone wrong in a certain area of your life, right? You feel like you're a victim of life. You feel like things are just out to get you, right? The truth is, what isn't what it seems is you're not a victim. You're a lot stronger than you think you are. It sounds corny, but you're more like a warrior than you are a victim. And so what Spirit is saying is, through recontextualizing the way you view yourself in these areas of your life where you're frustrated, you'll find a lot more positive of an outlook on your future and a lot more of a positive outlook looking back on your past. Okay. Now, I'll say this. I think Pile 2 had a very similar message. This does not diminish your feelings or your right to feel pained or upset or hurt. Okay? Emotions are valid, and we have emotions for a reason. Okay? I'm never going to do a tarot reading where I'm going to tell you, stop being a victim. You shouldn't feel hurt. Like, no. That's not how I do my readings, right? We feel the things we feel for a reason, and you're hurt for a reason, and your feelings are valid, pile number 3s. But what this reading is telling me is what isn't what it seems for those of you where this applies to, it's more of a personal things in your life seem like they always go wrong, is it's made you a lot stronger than you think you are. Okay. I also want to ask some extra questions for each pile today. I've been asking like an extra question each, more relevant to the specific reading. I think the best thing to ask for you, pile number 3, is why? Why or how does this make you stronger, or where is it leading? Okay. Spirit, for my lovely pile number 3s, could you explain more about why or like where this is leading? Why all these issues? What is this leading towards? 3 cards. Thank you for their highest, best, good. There we go. Oopsie. Sorry, I knocked the thing. You might have felt a little jiggle there. Let's see. All right, number 1. 2. Why? Right there. 3. There we go. Why? Where is this leading? You received the Ace of Cups reversed. Okay. Sometimes that can mean a new emotion, or discovering, or being encouraged to discover a new way of feeling about something. Meeting people, interesting. Why? The Empress reversed, which is asking for more nurturing energy. Okay, more motherly, feminine energy. And then we have the King of Pentacles, the mastery of external manifestation of material security, or, you know, money, home, career, that type of thing. Why? 1 second, apologies for the silence, pile number 3s. Pile number 3s. The why. Okay, yes, we talked earlier about how it's made you tougher, right? Okay, especially for those of you where this is like a lot of personal issues have cropped up that feel very undeserved and feel like you just keep running into a wall, right? The why for you guys, that half of the reading today, or the pile I should say, is because, let's see, there's some aspect of it made you really tough. It made you very, very good at your career, especially with the King of Pentacles, I'm feeling. It's like you learned how to do a lot with very little. Like, the imagery I'm being shown is like showing... It's like a seed growing out of concrete. Like, you've learned how to thrive even when life keeps beating you down. And that's how it made you stronger, and that's why these things happen to you. Does that make sense, pile number 3s? For those of you where this more applies to you trying to warn other people of, like, not going down certain roads or making bad choices, right? We talked about earlier, some of you, it might be like a parent-child relationship this relates to, okay? For those of you where that applies to in this reading, it's almost like the why those other people that didn't listen to you needed to learn that lesson is so that they could become more self-reliant, especially with the Empress reversed, which is like a lack of mothering energy, okay? Sometimes that can be negative, right? You know, we need nurturing energy in our lives, right? That's the beauty of feminine energy. But sometimes as parents or as mentor figures or as friends, when we pull back a little bit, even if it hurts the relationship a little bit with the Ace of Cups here, right? What it does is it creates people that are more self-reliant. Sometimes people don't learn lessons until the consequences are staring them right in the face, even if you've warned them. And that's their lesson to learn. And like I said earlier, pile 3s, for those of you this applies to maybe a child that you have, you know, or someone younger. You tried to kind of steer them in the right direction and they just went off in a different direction, right? Made bad choices, right? It taught them to be self-reliant. It taught them to be tougher. as difficult as that road was, and as much as, especially if you're a parent, you wanted them to avoid that painful road, it gave them a tougher hide, and it'll set them up for better success in the end, especially with the King of Pentacles upright. Okay? So to summarize your readings, pile number 3s. What isn't what it seems is, for those of you where this is a lot of things in your personal life that seem like they're going wrong, the twist is that you're not a victim of life, okay? You're someone that has been given a lot of lessons that have made you into, sounds corny, but I'll say it again because it's true, that have made you into a warrior. They have made you tougher, right? They've made you into a better person. They made you a thicker, tougher stuff than you would have had you not gone through those lessons and those struggles, okay? Right? For those of you where this applies to other people not listening to you and like they've made bad choices, right? The other half of this reading, right? Though not what it seems is you aren't responsible for their failures. You did the best you could for them. I can tell that from this reading, right? Even if they're your child or not, right? And the second part of is not what it seems is it's made them tougher, or will in the future make them tougher and more self-reliant in the end. It's better for them, okay? So I'll leave you with that today, my lovely pile number 3s. Apologies for the sirens in the background, but yes, so I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that reading was helpful for you, and I hope to see you in the next reading, my lovely pile number 3s. Bye.